Hey guys, I am back, and Barrel and Blade is back. And this month, listen, the theme this month is irresistible to me. Because the theme this month, I know, happens to be, because there's spoiler emails that went out, is I.F.A.K. I.F.A.K, Individual First Aid Kit. Guys, me, I.F.A.K. There's no way I could not unbox this box and not be really excited about it. No way whatsoever. Now, I'm also tempering that with knowing that obviously I'm not getting a military issued, with like needle decompression equipment for attention pneumothorax and all that stuff. But I'm so excited to see what's in this box. So you guys voted, and I know I said we were going to stop Barrel and Blade, but maybe Barrel and Blade's not done yet. Maybe. Probably. And we'll discuss that a little later. So I'm going to get into this Barrel and Blade for May 2018. We're going to see what comes in this I.F.A.K box. And I'm just, I'm psyched. I am, I gotta say. So for the unboxing today, we're going to use the Brous Blades Razorback. Sweet. Numbered blades are always cool, by the way. Yeah. Number 310 of 500. You're going to see a full review on this. Something that I'm in negotiations with right now with the owner. He's a cool dude, though, so it's going to work out. I didn't like it originally, and now I do, so I want it. But there'll be a full review coming about this. But let's see what we've got. Sweet. Sweet. We're going to get to this in a minute. But this is a field surgery instruments kit, and I've got something to compare it to. And what do we got? Well, you know what? Let's start with the card. Let's just start with the card. Barrel and Blade does their box a little bit different, and I go through this every time. So if you already know how Barrel and Blade does their level 1 versus level 2, you can skip ahead to this time, right here. If you don't, let me explain it, because it's not, a lot of boxes, level 2 is basically level 1 plus some stuff. Barrel and Blade doesn't always do that. Sometimes what Barrel and Blade does is they give you some of the level 1 stuff and then some other stuff, or sometimes they'll give you two very similar items, but you'll get something in level 1 and like a fancier, higher value version of that same item in level 2. Sometimes there'll be entirely different things in level 1 and level 2. So it is kind of unique in the way that level 2 doesn't always just build off of what's in level 1. Often you'll get stuff that's in level 1, you'll get some extra stuff, and then you will also get like a better version of something else that's in level 1, so a little mix of the two. But they do it a little, but they do it a little bit different than a lot of the other boxes that are very simple, where like, okay, in level 1 you get this, this, and this, and then in level 2 you get this, this, and this, and then this, and it makes for an interesting box. So we're here looking at the level 2 box, which will cost you $99.99 a month. The level 1 is $49.99 a month. So not quite twice as much. I have never, in all my unboxings, been like, oh man, I wish I had the level 1 instead. I wish I spent the less money on this. Let me get everything out of the box, and let's start going. What I like to do with this box is start with the items, and not necessarily go in order on the card, but go with monetary value, MSRP value, lowest to highest, and look at everything we've got. Okay guys, so I've organized everything outside of the box here. I also took the time to grab the I.F.A.K off of my plate carrier, and I don't know where any of my actual Army medic bags are, my M17 or my M5, but this is my actual EMT bag that travels around in the car with me with lots of cool stuff in it, and should be kind of right on top here. Yep, here it is. Look at that. So we'll take a look at that in a little bit. So also in the box here, Maxpedition makes the, I think the level 2. Does it also make the level 1? No, it just makes the level 2 gear pouch. And so here's a big fold-out Maxpedition pack thingy. There you go. So we got that. So let's take a look. Now, I just said we're going to go MSRP. And again, just like all boxes, these are MSRP values. You might be able to find the stuff for a little less if you look on your own. But I said we were going to go in order of least value to greatest. I noticed that the first item, which would be the first aid PVC morale patch, we're not going to look at that till we look at the pouch because they kind of go together. So there's no point in looking at that alone. So we're going to skip ahead. We're going to go to the top of the list. We're going to look at the Ready Man First Aid Bandana for $5.99. Okay. Now, in, I think, Battle Box twice, we've got Wazoo brand banners with different bandanas. Sorry, not banners. And you know, I don't like bandanas as a whole as items. However, both Wazoo bandanas were like 3 or 4 times the price of this one, and at least I feel like this one gives you useful information. This is a useful reference guide. I still don't like bandanas exactly as items, but you know what? This is one that not only... I don't look at this as a bandana, technically, in this pack. I look at this as a potential triangle bandage, and also... I mean, that's just me when I look at something like this in a first aid and a medical type thing. So I feel like this is more useful than information I've seen on the other 2 bandanas, different kinds of splints. But then you can use this as a triangle bandage or also as any other splinting material to make some of those. So you can use this to secure splints. You can use this to secure just body parts. You know, like, I mean... If you don't have the rigid splinting material available, you can use this. So while they call it a bandana, I would actually say that it's not only a little bit of a reference guide. I mean, let's face it, it's got pictures. So if you don't know how to do the things, you don't know how to do them. But at least if you don't have the knowledge and the skills, it's going to give you a guide in the right direction. I'm still not going to throw this directly in like it. I'm going to put it in meh for now. Just because on general principle, I'd do it. But... Not a terrible item. I mean, not a bad item, but I have a feeling we're going to have a lot more like-its in this box than mehs or don't like-its, just looking at the stuff. So moving on. We're going to move to the next item, which is the Rat's Tourniquet, the Rapid Application Tourniquet System for $17.99. Now, let me show you something. Just so you know, I'm not just like, oh, cool, item in a box. Watch this. When I open my actual kit up, look what I've got hanging out right here and available in my personal trauma kit is a Rat's Tourniquet, because this is a really good, really simple tourniquet to use. One of the things that people often get wrong about a tourniquet, number one, is using a material that is too thin. So like 550 cord, if you got nothing else to use, 550 cord makes a decent tourniquet. But you don't want to use something that is essentially almost like a garrote around the tissue. So the Rat's Tourniquet is good for a number of reasons. Wow, this one's really secure too. I don't keep mine like this. I'll show you how I keep mine when we're done with it. Style points only. Never put a tourniquet around the patient's neck if they have like facial bleeding. They don't like that. This is not a great place to put this sticker. Just saying, because as soon as you go to open this, there, see? Try to get this. This is... Okay, so this sticker was good, giving you the 3-finger loop advice and a place to write the time you put the tourniquet on. If it moves, great. If not, they kind of bone that up. You should always write what time you put the tourniquet on, but... Alright. We're going to lose this sticker on this particular one. I don't think my other one has it either. I'm used to writing it in marker on the patient's, I was going to say the victim, the patient's head. So anyway, mistake number one is using something that's like not suitable. You can use almost anything to make a tourniquet, but you don't want to use something too thin because that actually has the potential to do damage. Now there's a chance we might lose that limb, anything below the tourniquet anyway. But it gives us the elastic material to help us really cinch down tight. The design of it, it's lightweight, so you've got aluminum here. This lets us automatically loop it, and mine is arranged. I'll just take mine out too. So this is how I carry mine, looped and then kind of set right here. So as soon as I take it out, it's got a loop. that will fit easily around, you know, an arm or a wrist, or I can just extend it out a little bit and, you know, ready to go. That's the proper way to carry it. You should never like carry it all the way unthreaded because it's just going to waste time threading it back in. You put it around whatever the body part is, and then all you got to do is cinch it down around whatever, and then I don't know why I'm switching back and forth. They're the same thing. But you cinch it down as tight as you can. You want to cut off blood. You don't want to have the affected limb turn bright purple right away. You want to wrap it around a couple times you can, but you can secure the loose end right there in the aluminum, and that way it's not going anywhere. So it's kind of, there's a lot of tourniquets on the market. I like the Rat's tourniquet a lot. That's what I choose to carry. I'm not saying it's a better product than any other. I'm saying it's an easy to use. It's got good features, and it's, you know, the way it's built. There are some that rely on you doing like a twist with a stick and then velcroing it down, and yeah, those are all good and everything. I find these to be pretty simple. I'm gonna stop trying to sell you a Rat's tourniquet now. They're really good. I like them. So Rat's tourniquet definitely goes into the I like it pile. It's gonna go right there, and mine's gonna go back into my kit over there. Don't forget the golden rule of first aid kits, by the way. Always trash your buddy's kit when trying to save his life before you go into your own. That way you still have your own in case you need yours. And that's something they teach you in the Army. In basic training, always use your buddy's supplies on your buddy before you use your own. Okay, so moving on. We're going to look at the military surgical kit with instruments. I think that's spelled wrong. Whatever. I don't know. With instruments and sutures for $28.95. If you don't know how to suture things, it's not that complicated. Suturing and closing up. What is complicated is not leaving an ugly scar. I'm just going to put it there. So feel free to sew each other up all you want. You just, you know, we practiced when I went through a suturing course on pigskin. Because pigskin actually, an actual piece of, you know, pig with skin and tissue and everything apparently works just like human skin. It's very similar to it. And there was also some silicone skin and some other stuff. But yeah, you practiced on pig stuff. So this is a lot thicker than mine, but then again, mine has been used and I probably lost some stuff in the last little bit. So let's see what we've got in this one. Now they say surgical tools, but by the way, these are good, you know, for a multitude of stuff. I use them a lot. So yes, I have lost. Actually, I use some of my forceps for building models and stuff, so they're not in there right now. But overall, okay, I'm going to tell you the truth. These pen lights, they're nifty and all, and they give you a little pupil gauge for judging the actual millimeters of a pupil. If you're not a trained medical personnel, you're probably not going to care about the size. What you're looking at is to see that they are equal and reactive to light. We used to call that on the ambulance PERLA, pupils equal and reactive to light, making sure they don't have like TBI, traumatic brain injury, some kind of brain damage going on. That's important. And yeah, and these are not the most reliable lights anyway. These are issued in virtually every medical kit you'll get. I would replace this with like a stream light or just some kind of small LED pen light. But that's really what we use them for. You can use them for like looking at stuff, but they're not terribly bright. You're just, you know, using them to make pupils dilate and move to assess neurological type stuff. But that can sit there. I mean, if you were going to use this as a light to perform first aid, you really, unless you're going to tape this on and hold it up and have someone hold it up, it's not a very bright light. It comes with a lot of different things. So you've got these scissors can be used for bandages, but believe it or not, they're very good at snipping skin as well if you need to. And if we were to do some suturing combat type wound, there's some situations in, you know, out in the field where you might actually want to snip off some burnt, some very damaged tissues to give yourself a more clean wound closure. You know, jagged lacerations and stuff, but I'm not, this is all informational only. I'm not suggesting anybody do this. I'm just saying these are things I've learned. So, 2 forceps And you could use this for, I mean, these are useful for so many things around the house, different projects. You would use this to not only hold your suture and, you know, skin the wound edges to close them and do your stuff, but if you had to get into something to remove stuff, mind you, none of this is sterile right now. So if you're actually going to use this to do any kind of medical stuff, I'm sure there's alcohol pads in there. At the bare minimum, alcohol pads. What I have seen, and I'm not recommend, again, informational only, entertainment purposes only, not recommending, you can take like a little torch and flame the ends, but tissue probe. So you've got your bandage kind of scissors, and again, snippety snipped of your sutures and stuff, and can use on skin if you had to. These tweezers, I would replace them. I did replace them with some, like I actually spent money on some really fancy, like very precise jeweler's forceps, is what they're called, because they do close very, very finely. And then Voodoo Tactical. I love Voodoo Tactical, by the way. I didn't realize that was the brand. Voodoo Tactical. There's some people that really don't like Voodoo Tactical. They make awesome stuff. This is your scalpel handle, and then you will have in here. Now I'm just going to open this up because I should probably use one of the scissors to do it, shouldn't I? Let's see what we got. Triple antibiotic ointment goes on after the whole procedure, after you've got everything sutured and everything, before you put like a Band-Aid on. Moist towelette. Interesting choice. Scalpel blade. Now, again, you know, you don't have to use this just as a surgical kit. We use scalpels. If you've seen any of our my videos in the shop, we use these all the time because they're very precise. You can throw the blade away rather than having to sharpen it for doing a lot of our precise cutting and everything. So it is pretty cool to have. And you can buy boxes of scalpel blades on Amazon. Then you just pop on and replace. Alcohol pads. Nylon monofilament. Okay. So monofilament means it is one, there's monofilament and then there's braided sutures. Nylon is the kind that you would not do anything internal with because it doesn't dissolve in the human body. So you would specifically just do like external closures with. And 2.0, it's a very specific size. There's different sizes. There's monocryl, there's vicryl, there's nylon. There's all different kinds of sutures. There's different kinds of suture needles that's attached to it, to both ends of the suture. There's like some are like just round, almost like they bent a toothpick. Some have like a triangular shape to it, like one of those, like a mini little triangular bayonet. And then they shrunk it down. So I don't want to spend the whole video talking about a surgical kit, but I know that a lot of you guys ask me to go more in depth on the medical equipment when we're looking at it. So if you're into learning how to do this, there are classes you can take, and on Amazon there are really cool suturing practice kits you can order. It feels like you don't have to be able to do field surgeries and use and close wounds to find use for these tools. This is a good kit. I would recommend people have stuff like this to have the tools available. You never know when this stuff is going to come in handy. Forget medical. There's lots of different ways you can use the tools that come in this stuff. Not to mention standard 1-inch webbing for Molly accessory for Pal's webbing on the kit. So not only can you throw it in a pack, but you can put it on your gear. So definitely goes, and I like it. And you know what? The price is right on par with what you're going to find for a good quality kit. So this is not the actual issue one, but the tools are like 95% the same as what you'll get. And you can always swap it out with stuff you like. So definitely goes, and I like it. I like it. Yeah, you guys had to know I was going to get all excited and wordy over the medical box, right? So we've got 2 I like it's, 1 meh. Let's keep going. So next, we've got the Maxpedition Dep Pouch. What is Dep? Daily Essentials Pouch. Okay, so $39.99 for the Dep Pouch, which for our purposes here, we're going to use kind of as an I.F.A.K. I.F.A.K, by the way, if I didn't say it, stands for Individual First Aid Kit. And that's kind of a relative new terminology in the military. It used to just be a first aid kit. It used to be a first aid pouch, and you had one trauma dressing in it. This, in a little pouch, up on your web belt suspenders, your TA-50 suspenders, this went in a little pouch on your shoulder, was what when I was a very young private, this is what we carried. This. And so we've come a long way in terms of every soldier having a fully stocked kit. Now there were other first aid kits you could be issued, but I'm saying that the standard was a trauma dressing that you could put on yourself or your buddy if you got shot in the field, and then the medic would come over. The whole combat lifesaver and self-aid buddy care and all that stuff, it didn't exist then. It's cool. This, by the way, so the PVC morale patch for $4.99. I'm also not a fan of morale patches as items either, just because if it's a morale patch, which are typically funny patches, you know, like you either like it or you don't, and I think that should be like a bonus item. This, however, I get it. This is something that you can put on your gear as a quick reference for this is first aid. So that's why I said it kind of is going to go with the pouch. Now, $4.99, I still think we can probably find vinyl pouches. Vinyl patches are you know, they're expensive, more so than fabric patches. But I wouldn't consider this a morale patch so much as, you know, a gear identification patch. So I do like that this patch is securely made. You know, it's a good rugged little patch, and it's a really nice size to fit right there. Or I could even put it on this guy right here and identify, you know, what's in it. That's why I wanted to save it for this. So I'm going to judge these things kind of together, even though they're two different items. And that actually fits kind of perfect and goes with the color scheme right there. So, first aid. Another interesting side note, I never in my career, not once, did I ever wear a Red Cross brassard on my arm. The only thing that the Red Cross does is, for other countries that follow the Geneva Convention, you are not supposed to be targeted if you're wearing that, and it also means that you cannot use any weapons besides small arms to defend yourself or the casualties you're treating. When was the last time we fought an enemy that signed on to and followed the Geneva Convention anyway? This is a sniper's target. So, and most of the time, in a field unit anyway, in a combat line unit, the medic is supposed to just be another soldier until someone's hit anyway, so whatever. So let's take a look at our Maxpedition pouch. I guess you could, I'm getting from this, Molly type gear could go through here. Not a lot of space, but you could put it on there. Honestly, it's a little small on the inside. A little small. For the next item we're going to look at is all this stuff as like a, I don't know, and in the level 1 they had an Emt pouch. I'm wondering like what the difference is size-wise. So as an everyday kind of kit, what do they call it? What's DEP stands for? Daily Essentials pouch. I guess it would be a great size. For just an immediate, you know, trauma only kind of pouch, or a small first aid kit, I think it would work great. I like these Molly kind of keepers it has. Let me see. How do we disengage this thing? There we go. Pop it out. And so much easier than threading this thing through the webbing. I like this. That's cool. And yeah, so let's see. Does this? Yeah, so stuff on the front, you could connect other Molly type gear to. Whatever it would be. A little stiff because it's brand new. Really like these zipper pulls too. I like that they're rigid. It's easy to get your finger in there and use them. So Maxpedition stuff is usually pretty rugged and well made. You got a rigid sort of handle there to grab it. You could put a strap on. Lots of webbing and elastic, you know, separate pouches on the inside, which is cool. I'm just a little concerned with the size of what you've got on the inside, but very padded, very thick, lots of double stitching, very thick, heavy gauge nylon. So I'm sure that whatever you're carrying in here would be well protected. The color is interesting, kind of gray color now in an urban environment, which is, you know, a big concern for a lot of people now. Nice construction. I mean, it feels secure and tough and rugged. It's well built, it's tough, it's lightweight. Love these rather than your standard webbing. Jacked that up, didn't I? Let's put these back in. A lot easier than the standard webbing. But let's hold off on judgment on this for a moment, and let's look at the next item, which is the Tactical Trauma First Aid Kit for $48.99, which is all this stuff. Let's take a look at everything that comes in here. So when you tell me first aid and you tell me trauma, I'm automatically thinking two different things. First aid is first aid, and trauma is something else. So if this wants to do both, that's awesome. But again, critically thinking at the gear, what I'm going to use in a first aid kit is different from what I'm going to use in a trauma kit. So number one, triangle bandage. Interesting look to it as well. But triangle bandage, awesome for securing dressings to wounds or making splints, swaths, slings, all that stuff. Essential to have. I'd always like to have two in a kit, whether I'm talking like, you know, whatever it is. One is good, two is better, but awesome to have. I mean, essential to have. Lots of BZK antiseptics, so cool. More of a first aid than trauma type stuff. So we got all these band-aids, and then just these. Oh, these are like butterfly closures. Okay. What I'd love to see here in a kit like this would be band-aids are good, because even soldiers in the field, I would not only use the adhesive strips, bandage strips, but I would buy my own, and boy, you'd go through them like crazy. Butterflies are really good for closing, cuts and stuff like that, a little bit deeper. Steri strips. If you're not familiar with Steri strips, awesome things to have, great wound closures. A lot of times, you go to the ER these days, you might get Steri strips instead of stitches. So a little expensive, as opposed to Band-Aids and stuff, but worth it. And you can find them. If you can't find them in a drugstore or something, you can find them on eBay or Amazon pretty easily. So Steri strips, great addition to Band-Aids and everything. But I digress. We're still going through this. So Band-Aids, yes, great, awesome, more the merrier. Gloves, awesome to have. Let me show you. Gloves, and then in this pouch, more gloves. You want as many gloves as you can get your hands on, really. I mean, I have many more gloves stashed away in the big bag. You should always have gloves. I don't care who you're treating. No matter who it is. It could be your best friend, it could be your mom, it could be your husband or wife. You don't know what they have that they don't know they have. Always wear gloves when you're treating stuff. And that is a golden rule of even combat medics. The gloves go on. You could fail the entire course if on your last practical examination you fail to walk up and say, I've got my gloves on, my partner has his gloves on. You can be the best star student in the course. And that goes for most state courses too. These, these are ammonia inhalants to wake someone who is unconscious. I haven't seen these used in a really long time. Just put these over here. Ace bandage, good for all sorts of stuff. Specifically, sprained strains of joints. Also great for securing splints and stuff. First aid and burn cream. Lidocaine. That'll help you with pain relief. And it's got some antibacterial stuff. Safety pins, extra safety pins for securing different kinds of slings, swaths, splints, and stuff. Lots of aspirin. Tweezers. They look pretty good, actually. We are the crab people. Okay. Tape. Some basic first aid instructions. Oh, this is from Rothko. Okay. Yep. Big absorbent dressing. Ever stop trauma. Okay, I was just wondering if this had like a coagulant in it or not. But oh, look what we got. Okay, so we got 2 rolls of gauze and then a big absorbent dressing. So that's pretty cool. Okay. Your standard quintessential trauma shears cut through a penny or a pinky. Your choice. Or, you know, just standard clothes and stuff. The combi pad. So again, bulky absorbent dressing. And then 4x4 gauze pad, sterile, awesome dressing material. And one more. And all of this is pretty good standard basic first aid stuff. You know, entering into the trauma world, this is a good bulky trauma type dressing. When it comes to trauma, so what's the difference between trauma and first aid? First aid is typically, I mean, by definition, it is the first medical aid given on scene. We don't think of it in terms of being very advanced, but I mean, by definition, again, it is first aid. Trauma is typically reserved for violent injuries. You know, that's my definition. That's not the definition, but trauma is something that impacts the body, violently causing damage. And that doesn't mean it's on purpose. It could be an accident, but it could be blunt force trauma. It could be penetrating trauma, gunshot wound. It could be being impaled on a stick after falling out of a tree. It could be a lot of different stuff. So this is kind of a little nice mix in between both worlds of first aid and trauma. I would say that this pack is more of an individual first aid nature than, maybe not necessarily even individual first aid, but, you know, we're not going to fit everything we need for like a trauma pack, full trauma kit into here. But it does have, I didn't think we were going to do it. I'll be honest, I'm surprised and I'm impressed. And it's not, you know, bulging out, popping at the seams either. The one thing that I'm having a little bit of trouble getting in there right now is the scissors, which we could carry separately, or I don't know. You know, and this is just my first hack. I mean, I'm sure that if I spent a little bit more time trying to figure it out, I could fit these in. Let me see. You also don't want to damage anything, just shoving everything in there. There we go. Alright, look. We got everything from the first aid trauma kit in the pack. Nice. Now, a couple other... We're not even done unboxing. We still have something else to unbox. Look at that. But everything fits in nice. And we still have our tourniquet, which I think if we wrapped it up nice and tight, we could fit in there. So you know what? We are going to put all of this in I Like It. Now, we've got one last item. We've got the Cold Steel Tough Light for $50.99. And for reals, yo, I've been looking at this. This has been on my Amazon wish list for a while, and I've been contemplating. I've been very impressed lately. I don't know if the video has posted yet or not, but I just got the Tough Steel AD10, and I love it to death. And it's been kind of making me rethink some of the more modern cold steel knives. So let's take a look here. So what do we got? We got a lockback. We've got, this is definitely plastic handle. Do we have specs on the box? Because they've been doing that lately. Yes, we do. Specs on the box. Everything we need. Okay. Now, the MSRP price for this might be a bit high. I'm going to have to check on Amazon and see what it goes for there. And, you know, on my video reviewed knives list, my Amazon influencer page will probably be there, because I think we could probably find it a little cheaper. But it is tip down only, but left or right, so there's a moderate amount of soup for everyone. It is very lightweight. little small. I'd put it in the same size range as like a Spyderco Delica. Very smooth. You know, it's also maybe just a hair bigger than a Kershaw Shuffle. It's a very smooth knife though. Very comfortable to hold. Really comfortable. By design, you're in a great position to use that for just some light general slice or choked up. Excellent fine control of that tip, and take a look at that tip. Yeah. Really nice. Let's see. Yeah, so not as highly engineered as the AD10, but there's also a pretty big price difference there. Just realized we have this here. I don't need this, so pretty nice. I like that blade. I would actually say that blade size is very, very similar to the Kershaw Decoy. Pull through. Very nice. Close to great. I mean, close to one of the best. Not quite there, but very close. And then slice. Awesome. So, now the MSRP value on it is pretty expensive. I'm sure that when I find that on Amazon, we'll find it for a little bit cheaper. But I think that at a lower price, absolutely worth investing in. I'm really starting to change my opinion to cold steel. And I think that as a knife that can go in a pack or your first aid kit, your I.F.A.K, whatever, great choice. You don't have a whole lot of room inside this thing, but they did give us the webbing right up front, and this clip is pretty solid. So that fits pretty nicely. I'm going to carry this maybe in conjunction with the AD10, which you guys will see soon. And just put it through a little workout. This would be a perfect knife for me to use at the shop to do all sorts of detail work and cut the hydrographics film and all that. I mean, super light and everything. So, you know, I like this box. I really like this box. There's no way I would want to miss out on this theme. Anyway, this is going to be a much longer video than I intended, but I'm pretty excited about the medical stuff. And you guys have always wanted me to get more involved and in-depth with the medical equipment and procedures and stuff. I'm still not going to make a full-on, here's my medical guidebook video, but, you know, I got a little bit more into it today for you guys. So what do you guys think? What was your favorite items? What didn't you like? Was there anything you would put in meh or don't like? Or did you guys did you like the way I separated everything out? Or, you know, do you have further questions about some of the stuff we looked at medical wise that, you know, you don't understand or that you just are curious about specifically? Ask me. We'll talk about it. Okay. It's been long enough. We're going to end this one. You guys are all absolutely awesome. I appreciate every single one of you, and I will be back again real soon.